Hello, and welcome to this live online concert presented by the National Arts Club. I'm Paul Schwendener, and on behalf of the Music Committee, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this event. For those of you who are not familiar with the club, we're a 501c3 nonprofit with a mission to stimulate, foster, and promote public interest in the arts. Each year, we offer more than 150 free programs to the public, including exhibitions, theatrical and musical performances, lectures, and readings. For more information about the club and to learn how you can become a member, visit us at nationalartsclub.org or find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. This season, the National Arts Club is honored to be collaborating with the Sphinx organization to present a series of classical concerts featuring outstanding young Black and Latinx musicians. The Sphinx organization is the national social justice organization dedicated to transforming lives through the power of diversity in the arts. Sphinx 4 program areas: education and access, artist development, performing artists, and arts leadership form a pipeline that develops and supports diversity and inclusion in classical music at every level. Learn more at sphinxmusic.org. The live stream concerts take place all through the season on 2 Thursdays each month at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please check the National Arts Club online calendar for details. Today, we are delighted to feature cellist Thomas Mesa, who has established himself as one of the most charismatic, innovative, and engaging performers of his generation. Mr. Mesa was the winner of the first prize in the 2016 Sphinx competition, among other awards. He has appeared as soloist with the Los Angeles Philharmonic at the Hollywood Bowl, the Cleveland Orchestra, to name only a few. Thomas was featured on the Grammy-nominated album Bonhoeffer. As an ensemble musician, he is touring with the Orpheus Chamber Orchestra and is the principal cellist of the Sphinx Virtuosi, who have played in almost every major venue across the United States. The titles of the music for today's program are listed in the chat section of your sidebar on Zoom. Now, you can also submit questions for Thomas via chat bar, and there will be a short Q&A after the performance. I invite you now to relax and enjoy the music. Over to you, Thomas.
Thanks for that lovely introduction, Paul, and thank you, Mitch, for saying that information. First of all, I want to thank the National Arts Club because it's really an honor to be presenting on this series. And Mitch and Paul, thanks for spending the time today in rehearsal and in the morning and in the afternoon, checking sound. And also thank you to Andre Dowell at Sphinx Organization, who actually recommended me to do this only a couple days ago as a sort of last minute replacement. And I'm just so honored to do this. I think we were trying to find a time at some point for this season and it just didn't work out. So this is a nice coincidence here. So I'm proud to be representing Sphinx, who's a major supporter of minority musicians. And I was a past winner of their competition, and they've been so supportive of my career with opportunities to perform, money for commissions, and just plain old life skills, and a great time. I love working with them. And I'm grateful for our relationship and now this new relationship with the National Arts Club. So it's an honor to be here. I am really, really excited about this program because it brings together complete opposites. So we have the brand new and we have the very old and the very familiar. And so fusing those two together is really exciting on one program. And so the brand new music actually brings together pieces that are about New York City in some way. And so we have one piece, Scott Bradley Joyner's work called Schumann in New York. And it's a nice little hors d'oeuvre of a piece. And I believe Scott's going to be on this call to introduce that. And Andrea Casarrubios wrote a very moving work called Seven, which is a tribute to the essential workers and those who have died in this terrible pandemic. And it's a sort of tribute to them and all who have really fought during this time. And the other works, the more familiar ones on the other side, they actually don't really need any introduction. That's how familiar and how widely known they are. So you can take a look at the program. So I will begin with Bach's first suite in G major, the Prelude, Sarabande, and Gigue. It's so weird to perform without clapping. What a world we live in. So I actually wanted to transition by asking Scott Bradley Joyner, who is the composer of the next piece. The piece is called Schumann in New York, and I wanted him to introduce this. I believe he's on the line. Is that right?
So I apologize for the lighting. This is the classroom where I teach. I am down in Savannah, Georgia today. But I wrote this piece over the summer for actually another Juilliard cellist of an earlier generation, David Gibson. And the thing I wanted to do is there's a Schumann piece, a not too difficult Schumann piece that feels always to me like half a piece. And it's a Kleine Studie from Opus 68, and I believe it's number 14. And I thought, this piece, it's a great study, but it's like not a complete piece. It needs something. And so as I was creating a piece for David to play, I thought, that Schumann would really be perfect. And the line that sang out to me over the top ended up being this really bluesy, angular line that contrasts so beautifully with the fluidity of Schumann's chromaticism. And so the piece started to strike me as like, if Schumann were alive now and walking down the streets of New York, it would be this juxtaposition of this romantic fellow with like the angular rhythms of Gershwin and how those would collide. And I was just so happy with the way that the music came together. Another example of this is Gounod's Ave Maria, right? Where he took Bach's piano prelude and crafted a melody over the top of it. And so that was my model really for this. Is it fun to play, Tommy?
It is really fun. And it's Scott and I, we were planning on collaborating on a recording of this to submit sort of to the social media interwebs, and this sort of just came up a couple of days ago, this performance. And so I was like, well, why not include this in here? And I heard that you had a relationship with National Arts Club with your opera that you composed. So that was exciting.
So I think in 2018, the National Arts Club hosted me for an evening of my works. And so we did excerpts from my recent opera at the time that had just premiered in Vienna. And we did a showing of my bachelor opera and the Tinder opera. And I have to say, out of that meeting came a really lovely commission. I was commissioned by the New York Baroque Dance Company, a really highly esteemed organization, to write a prelude for them because of the event that the National Arts Club hosted. And so I have a warm place in my heart for the National Arts Club. I love it there. And thank you, Paul, for having me. And I'm so glad that that we're back.
Great. Thanks so much, Scott. All right. So I have my trusty pianist coming out of a speaker. Let's see how the balance is. All right.
Four, three, two.
I love it. Okay, so next on the program, I'm going to show you a very interesting piece by Lydia Jane Pugh. And she actually hails from the island of Guernsey in the English Channel. And so she has this very carefree style of her writing. And she really sought in this piece called Carolina's Gigue. She sought to really have that sort of carefree fiddle style of music. And you can see it's very scrappy. It's got lots of different things going on with percussion on the cello. And so I wanted to show you, for fear of talking too much, but I think this is important, this body percussion and bowing key. And that is really interesting because there's all these different sounds that she really wants me to do. And so they're divided into a few different kinds of sounds. One is a tap. These are all percussion sounds. A tap down here, which is low, tap up here, which is higher pitch. And then there's knuckle tapping right back here. And then we have, there's one other one here. There's a palm hit like that. So these are all 4 different percussive elements. And then of course the ricochet bowing, which a lot of you are used to hearing. So it's kind of fun. And I love playing this piece. So here it is. No pianist. I love that piece. Okay, so I'm going to call my pianist back into the room here, and we're going to play in all of this newer music. It's nice to come back to something that's more familiar and beautiful. And of course, this piece does not need an introduction. So I hope you enjoy. You know, I could play a full recital program. It's like an hour and a half long during the regular season, and then I'll play that at the end of the recital. And half the people will come up and they'll ignore everything and they'll just be like, "I just love the Swan. That was the best on the program." People love that piece, and it's for good reason. It's really beautiful. So next, we're gonna. This is actually going to be the last thing on the program. And I just wanted to say a few words about it because it's very special to me. It's a brand new work by Andrea Casarrubios called Seven. And this was written in March, April, and May of this year. And this was during the lockdown. And I created this commission that was called Songs of Isolation. By Stephanie Ann. The three composers are going to be Stephanie Ann Boyd, Carlos Simon, and this is Andrea's piece, Andrea Casarrubios. And I'm just so excited about the work that came out of these Songs of Isolation. And, you know, these are three shorter works. And I just wanted to read a little bit of what Andrea had to say about her piece. And of course, the name seven, just as a sort of anecdote, is actually the time that people went to their windows and they clapped as a tribute to the workers and everybody on the front lines. And so this is what she had to say about this piece. For me, this music embodies the emotional complexity of the unique and overwhelming challenges we are facing. It grants me the relief of a more distant perspective, a space where I am able to reflect on solitude, loss, and appreciation. And then actually the program note to describe the piece a little bit more, I also wanted to read so you have the full picture. So 7 for solo cello is a tribute to the essential workers during the global COVID-19 pandemic, as well as to those who lost their lives and are suffering from the crisis. My intention with this work is to create an experience in which two opposites coexist: solitude and resilience during isolation, and a sense of community and solidarity. The piece ends with 7 bell-like sounds, alluding to New York's daily 7 p.m. tribute during the lockdown, the moment when New Yorkers clapped from their windows, connecting with each other and expressing appreciation for those on the front lines.
I told Tommy that I wasn't going to be able to join for the conversation as I was walking to a meeting, but I'm listening to the concert as I walk, and I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. And while Tommy has to tune down that C string, and I'm loving the concert and everyone's music, and I wish you all the best. I hope you enjoyed this piece.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you. We have a thank you for all of the performance today. I want to thank Scott and Andrea for joining us too. And Thomas, if you have some time, we have a few questions.
Absolutely.
Great. So the first question is, can you tell us about the instrument you're playing today?
Yeah. Yeah, I will. Yeah, it's made by Richard Tobin. He's an Irish man who actually lived in England around the time of Beethoven. So around 1820, he made this cello. And this cello actually recorded some of the first movies with sound in Hollywood, California, in the 1900s. So it's a very special instrument and wide range, and it's beautiful as well. I like the back is very nice. The light coming in, you can sort of see the patterns. Yeah, I've had it for about 10 years.
Wow, that's a great story behind it. And then, so my next question is, how did you come to play cello, and how long have you been playing?
So I've been playing since I was about 12, which is a little later than most, but I really loved it. I took to it. Wasn't told to practice. I've been playing I'm now 30, which is shocking. I don't know how that happened, but 12, so that's what, 18 years now I've been playing. And yeah. And how did I start, Mitch? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, how did you get into it?
So actually in middle school, I picked the wrong class. I've told the story a lot, but it's kind of a fun one, which is I just essentially picked the wrong class. I thought band, I wanted to play drums, and I thought that checking off orchestra was going to allow me to play drums. And I walked in the first day and I was really mad because all there was wooden instruments. I'm like, I can't really bang on that, even though clearly I'm able to as of the performance today. But you know what I mean? I wasn't able to really hit it. So I was a little mad, but then, I came to have friends in that class, and my friends ended up playing cello. And I didn't want to hang out with people on playing violin. That wasn't going to be fun. I didn't get along with them. So I ended up playing cello because of my friends in middle school.
That's great. Well, we're all thankful that you stuck with it. Then my final question is just going to be, how have you adjusted to kind of performing in the age of the lockdowns and coronavirus?
It's been a hard adjustment. It's been really hard because I am used to going, and then suddenly you have to stop. And that's been really hard for everyone who's in my profession, and everyone who's in other professions who this whole pandemic has really affected what they do and their purpose. And, there was some dark times in the beginning, but, a few projects like the one I just played for you really pulled me through. And that was the purpose of those projects, and to sort of allow a platform for these composers to express what they want to feel during this time and all this pent up emotion. And so that allowed me to have an outlet, and it allowed them to have an outlet. So it really was a win-win. So the commissioning projects really helped. I didn't do a lot of practicing in the first few months, but things like this just really pulled me through. Virtual concerts as well, have been happening, and some through Sphinx, some not. But for example, tonight, a New Jersey Symphony is, they have this whole season happening that they curated with the wonderful music director they have, and we actually did a quartet concerto with them by Michael Abels that's actually going to premiere tonight. So be sure to check out their website and register to watch this. But it's a really phenomenal piece that I think you'll be able to see either on demand later or tonight. I'm not quite sure, but check that out.
Great. Well, we are, again, very thankful that you could join us today. And I want to thank, again, Andrea, Scott, and the Sphinx organization. For upcoming National Arts Club programs, you can visit nationalartsclub.org. And other than that, everyone have a great afternoon.
Thank you for having me.